Are you sick and tired of gambling your hard-earned money on Madden and 2K packs? Well, look no further than my sponsor, MMOEXP, for the cheapest and most reliable Madden and 2K coins on the market. And of course, do not forget to use code Ferdy for 5% off. A link for their website is at the top of the description. What's going on, guys? Today we are once again updating the running back tier list. And with Zero Chill and Ghost of Madden, obviously, as you guys can see with an empty S tier, the running back landscape has changed quite a bit over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so let's waste no time. Let's just hop right into it here with the out of position Vita Vega. And this card is legitimately good. If you haven't seen this card in action yet, I may have posted a short on this channel using the card, but I do have a lot more clips and gameplay over on the second channel with this card. And he is actually pretty tough. The only issue I have with these two out of position running backs is the fact that they just don't get discounted abilities. If they gave Vita like 1 AP, bulldozer or whatever the case is, and more than likely we are going to get a golden ticket Vita Vega. So when he does get good abilities and better speed, which honestly the speed is no problem with this card. I was honestly finishing some pretty big runs with this Vita card, and it's just his ability to air truck makes him feel so much faster, and people feel the need that they need to hit this card hard to knock him down. So you do get some pretty aggressive tacklers and you can kind of swerve them a little bit. This card's actually really fun to use and actually honestly pretty solid for an 88 speed running back. So I'm going to be putting Vita Vega in between Emmitt Smith and Edgerrin James. If you don't believe me, this card's legit. I'm telling you, this card's legit, and if you have a Bucks team, you should definitely be using him. Next up, we have the out of position running back Micah Parsons, and I did want to do a gameplay for this card on the second channel. I was just busy towards the end of the week this week with, the New Year's and content and stuff like that. But yeah, Micah Parsons is actually pretty solid as a runner, as a pass catcher. No, 30 short route running is not getting it done, but as a ball carrier at 6'3", 246 pounds with 92 speed, he's actually can definitely hold his own. Again, the only issue is the lack of discounted abilities on this card. But yeah, I still might do a gameplay for this guy. I still might do it. He does look very interesting to me, and also he's probably a lock for a golden ticket. And I feel like what they're going to do at Micah is they're going to do the good old player golden tickets, and Micah's probably going to make himself. That's my prediction there. So there you go, Micah Parsons, low B tier. This card can definitely hold his own stat-wise, but again, it's just a lack of abilities on this card that do kind of hold him back a little bit. Okay, so we might as well just knock out all of the out-of-position running backs. I believe this is the last one, I'm pretty sure, hopefully. But we have William Perry, who's actually a fullback, but obviously can play running back. And I'm telling you, these big backs, their speed might scare some people, but I promise you, they're still really good, man, okay? 94 acceleration, 96 strength on this card. The pass catching stats, I'm actually not too sure on. If I go to compare, I should be able to see, like, catching. Catching's at 78. Short route running is at a 71, which is honestly not bad for a dude who is 6'2", 335 pounds. But yeah, as a ball carrier, this card's pretty good. And also his abilities are not bad at all. You are probably just going to want to use tank and 0 AP goal line back if you're going to use him as a running back. But return man 0 AP is pretty nice. We all know that everyone kind of scum kicks, me included. It's kind of become second nature to just a scum kick. So return man 0 AP on William Perry at fullback. I mean, it definitely has its uses, and I think William Perry, air trucking, breaking tackles, this card does still play very well. And I feel like people might think this card should be a little bit lower, but I do think that William Perry is about where Barry is. And by the way, one thing about Barry Sanders, this Barry Sanders card right here, and honestly any cheap human joystick running back, is that if you play on last gen Madden, please use human joystick running backs. Like, for example, like the Kenneth Walker card that I'll talk about later. Use him because on last gen, human joystick still works the same way it did in Madden 20. So obviously a really good ability, and it's super cheap because it doesn't really work on next gen, so they have it cheap. So yeah, so just by the way, if you play on last gen, human joystick backs are much higher on this list. This is a next gen tier list mainly. Hey, real quick before we hop into the next running back, I have to remind you to hit that subscribe button. We are now less than 400 subscribers away from 40,000, so of course any support is appreciated. Regardless, I do appreciate you watching today's video, and hopefully you do enjoy the rest of the tier list. So now we have another Ghost of Madden card, and that is Dalvin Cook with the 94 speed, 94 acceleration, 5'10", 210 pounds, with some pretty good elusive back stats. Obviously, Dalvin Cook cards don't usually pack that big of a punch as far as being a super good power back. And again, this is an example of a card that does get 1 AP human joystick. But the setup for this card would probably just be evasive. If you throw the ball to your running back and you have to run, you know, Dalvin Cook, then go for 2 AP backfield master, but there are cheaper backfield masters in the game right now. 1 AP evasive's there though. So there you go. There is Dalvin Cook, who plays solid. I don't think he's anything special, but definitely solid. We're going to throw him up here at A tier, right around Marcus Allen, Cordell Patterson, Saquon Barkley range. So now we have another Ghost of Madden card, and that's the Ghost of Madden future, Damien Pierce. With 92 speed, 94 acceleration, gonna have some pretty good power stats. And honestly, I wish they just didn't cheat his stiff arm, because his stats would be pretty solid for a ball carrier. Spin move, you might as well just have a 0 spin move in this year's Madden. You cannot spin in this year's game. So, I mean, if it'll help utilize more ball carriers stats and attributes elsewhere, I'm fine with him having even 70 spin move. I'm fine with that. Spin moves do not work in this year's game, even with spin cycle. But yeah, I do wish this stiff arm was maybe high 80s to maybe even 90 on a Damien Pierce card. However, he does get a pretty decent ability setup. Like, Bruiser's going to be good. Bruiser should really cover up that 80 stiff arm pretty well. So 1 AP Bruiser, super nice. And the main reason why I am putting Damien Pierce at B tier and a guy like Nick Chubb, who has very similar stats, is going to stay at A tier, is because Nick Chubb does get evasive. He does get evasive as well. So you have, you know, Nick Chubb's ability to also be a really good power back, also in my opinion does have better stats still. They are close, but Nick Chubb can, you know, get power back animations and elusive back animations with that evasive ability. So that's why Nick Chubb is going to stay at A tier, and a guy like Damien Pierce is down at B tier, although they are pretty similar. Okay, now let's get into our top tier running backs, and getting started here with Christian Okoye. This one's interesting because Okoye, you know, 93 speed, sorry, 93 speed with 96 acceleration, 91 strength, and he is 6'1", 253 pounds. So the ability to air truck, just like Micah Parsons, but with a 93 speed build and good acceleration, legitimate good ball carrier stats, even can play fullback, obviously, because he is traditionally a fullback. But also the abilities on this card are pretty nice as well, with Bruiser and Tank for just a 2 AP setup. Or if you want to throw the ball to this man out of the backfield, you have backfield mismatch, and Tank's good. Tank is good, but once people realize that you have Tank and they stop hit sticking, it does get kind of useless. So I don't really like paying for Tank that much. But yeah, backfield mismatch is definitely nice on this card with the Bruiser. So Okoye, I do think, is a top tier back in the game. If Okoye was like 220, he might be down here, but the fact that he's 250, 6'1" with those abilities and the stats also, I mean, he has to be S tier. His cards are always super frustrating to face, regardless of the speed. I know the speed, you know, Saquon might be faster, Patterson, Dalvin are all faster, but it's that build for me. It's the build for me. So next up, we have legend Earl Campbell, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple comments like, how is Earl Campbell a tier above Saquon Barkley? And yes, they are similar, I think, stat-wise for sure. Saquon is actually faster, and also they have very similar builds. But the reason why I do have Earl Campbell over Saquon Barkley is just because of these abilities, man. This ability set up right here, with him being a new legend, he does get 3 player-specific ability slots, which does open up some crazy versatility. You get Tank for 1 AP, evasive, backfield mismatch if you want, goal line back is free on this card. I just love the versatility of this card, and no matter how you want to play the game, if you like, you know, using Tank, if you like evasive, if you like throwing the ball to your running back, Earl Campbell can achieve all 3 of those things with the abilities. And ever since Madden 20, ever since they introduced abilities into MUT, it's always been abilities over stats. It always has been. So with that being said, I am going to throw Earl Campbell up here at S tier. He's, I don't know if he's better or worse than Okoye. I do think it is pretty close between the two. I guess if you want more of the, you know, evasive pass catching, I mean, even Okoye does get it too. It's pretty close between these two. I think I am going to give Okoye the slight upper hand. I do think Earl Campbell is pretty close to that Saquon card. Okay, so next up we have Marshawn Lynch. And I know I just was talking about how good Earl Campbell's abilities are, and they are good, and obviously you can run, you know, less AP on him if you want to, but still, I feel like 3 AP on a running back, a lot of people aren't doing right now in this meta. Like, there's a lot of super cheap options right now. But Marshawn Lynch has good stats, great speed, great acceleration. Usually Marshawn cards, like in previous Maddens, haven't really felt that good because he's only 215 in MUT. But this year is obviously different. I feel like these smaller backs, like strength matters, trucking matters, stiff arm matters, break tackle matters, you know, with tackle battles and stuff like that. And also, it does help that Marshawn Lynch does get free Bruiser and 1 AP Tank. So if you don't want to run Tank, you can just run free Bruiser, which is like getting free Bulldozer, free Armbar. It is super glitchy. It is honestly super glitchy. So Marshawn Lynch, big fan of this card. I believe I did a gameplay on him. It may have been a main channel video, actually. Yeah, I think I did do a Marshawn Lynch gameplay. I did. Yeah, I did. I definitely did. I know I used him. I wasn't sure if I actually did it for a video or not, but Marshawn Lynch, the real deal. We're going to throw him up here at S tier. I think the speed's too good, the stats are too good, and also, you know, free bruiser. It has, you know, that's tough to beat. 0 AP on a running back. I mean, come on. So next up, we have a card that was a little bit overlooked, mainly because he came out during Zero Chill, and his price still hasn't really fallen. He was going for about $1 million on Christmas, so I understand why this card was overlooked, but he is actually really good. He is very versatile, can catch passes, good power back stats, good build at 6'1", 220, great speed, 95 CODs elite, 95 break tackle. This card does feel and play super well, but also does get really good abilities. Does get backfield master 2 AP, and I love the 0 AP jukebox on this card. Jukebox for completely free is super nice, and it's basically the equivalent of getting 0 AP bruiser for an elusive back, because spin moves, like I said, do not matter. So all you need is jukebox. All you're going to be doing is juking if you do want to run evasive, or, you know, a jukebox or whatever the case is. So the fact he does get it for free, super nice. Also, you know, good pass catcher. So I mean, you don't need backfield master, but if you want it, it's there. If you don't have hot route master, backfield master is pretty solid for just 2 AP. So yep, DeMarco Murray, we're going to be throwing him up here at S tier in front of Marshawn Lynch. I feel like DeMarco can just do a little bit more, but honestly, it is very close between these two. Okay, so now we have the Zero Chill LaDainian Tomlinson, and I do have LT on my team. I run a full 50-50 Jets team, so I do use LaDainian, and he's amazing for me, but I'm aware that he has 96 speed on my team, and if you want to go pick him up, he's not going to have that. So with LaDainian Tomlinson, I would say, you know, stat-wise, the card feels good. This is honestly the best I've felt a LaDainian Tomlinson card feel, and I always have full Jets team, so, you know, this one does feel better than in years past. Usually LaDainian comes out. LaDainian is one of my favorite players of all time, but he comes out and he just doesn't feel the way that the card should, or the stats kind of suggest. But 5'10", 215, with the abilities, evasive, RB apprentice, backfield mismatch, they could definitely be better. So LaDainian Tomlinson, for me, if you have him on a theme team, he's S tier, but I do think he is going to be A tier. He's about in Saquon range. The abilities, in my opinion, are pretty equal, and honestly, Saquon's build might put him over LaDainian. But yeah, those are my thoughts on LaDainian Tomlinson. I originally was going to put him up here at S tier, but yeah, I did kind of reconsider. As you can see, usually I don't have like an extra guy jutting out like this on a tier list video, but I had to make it audible. So yeah, LaDainian Tomlinson, high A tier. And so now we have the 95 overall Kenneth Walker. This man absolutely eviscerated the Jets yesterday. Please, actually, I shouldn't have even brought it up. Why did I even bring up the Jets? I don't even know why I brought him up. But this card is obviously amazing. Fastest speed in the game right now for a running back, or at least tied for it. With good acceleration, great stats, even, you know, good truck. I do wish this stiff arm was a little bit higher. Again, if it was up to me, I'd give him like an 85 spin and give him like a, you know, 93 stiff arm. I mean, that's what I would do. Even a pretty good pass catcher. The abilities on this card, I do think it could be better, mainly just because human joystick does not work on next gen. However, 1 AP evasive is still super nice. So there you go. Kenneth Walker, I do think, has some of the best RB stats right now in the game. However, I do think he can definitely, I mean, his speed's going to keep him pretty relevant, but ability-wise, I do think he can definitely get passed up in the near future, and honestly could drop him down pretty quickly because that ability setup isn't the best, but the stats right now are what kind of is keeping him at the top of S tier right now. And finally, last but not least, I'm sure you didn't even have to click on this video to know that Eric Dickerson is going to be number 1. 95 speed, 93 acceleration, crazy agility, great strength. Can really just do everything. Yes, he's a power back, but does, you know, feel very good on the stick with a good COD, agility, juke move. Again, the spin move at 95 doesn't matter. Good stiff arm, good truck carrying, break tackle 97, a good pass catcher at 6'3", 220 pounds, and we all know that Dickerson has his own custom build in the game, so he does look and feel and play a lot bigger, and also does get some pretty decent abilities. Leapfrog, in my opinion, was kind of a waste. I do kind of wish that they switched Bruiser and Leapfrog here. Like, it's fine that he gets it. It makes him feel a little bit different, but, you know, spending 1 AP on Leapfrog seems like kind of a waste to me, so I probably would just run Bruiser on this card. If you want to throw the ball to him out of the backfield, you have backfield master. So yeah, some decent versatility on this card. Obviously no jukebox, but it's definitely not the end of the world. This card just plays out of its mind. And like I said, I love his custom build. The custom build for me is what sells this card. It makes him play and feel just a lot better. So Eric Dickerson right to the top. Our top 5 running backs currently here in Madden 23. We got Dickerson at number 1, Kenneth Walker number 2, DeMarco Murray number 3, Marshawn Lynch number 4, and Okoye / Earl Campbell coming in at number 5. So of course, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications, drop a comment down below. Who's too high, who's too low? Let me know down below. And as always, I will see you boys in the next one.